Welcome to Decision Desk HQ's 2024 Election Forecast Model, a powerful new tool for in-depth analysis and predictions for the upcoming presidential, Senate, and House races, all of which you can check out for yourself right now as it is now live at elections2024.thehill.com. As always, the model considers hundreds of data points, including polling, economic indicators, national and local political trends, candidate characteristics, and campaign finance information. And all of these data points are processed through advanced machine learning algorithms. For more specific details on our methodology, you can check it out again at elections2024.thehill.com. Now, in addition to our quantitative forecasts, Decision Desk HQ also provides qualitative ratings for each race, categorizing them as solid, likely, leans, or toss-up for each party. Now, these ratings serve two purposes. First of all, they allow readers to easily track significant shifts in the electoral landscape, as changes in these categories can signal important developments in key races. And second of all, our qualitative ratings do enable direct comparison between our forecast and the expert analyses provided by respected outlets such as the Cook Political Report, Split Ticket, and Sabato's Crystal Ball. Now let's start with the presidency. With less than 6 months until Election Day, President Joe Biden's re-election prospects are in worse shape than many Democrats would like them to be. Although the fundamentals of the race, including the incumbency advantage, campaign fundraising levels, and many macroeconomic factors generally favor Biden, both national and swing state polls do give former President Donald Trump a clear edge. According to the latest national polling average from Decision Desk HQ/The Hill, Trump leads Biden by exactly 1 point across 712 national polls, a significant pro-Trump shift from Biden's 4.5-point popular vote victory in 2020. Furthermore, if the election were held today, swing state polling suggests that Trump would also achieve a decisive victory in the Electoral College by flipping all 6 states that Biden won by less than 3 points in 2020: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. That being said, as the 2016 and 2020 elections demonstrated, polling can be subject to systematic errors that might underestimate any candidate by several percentage points. And since most of the campaigning will only commence in full following each party's nomination convention this summer, there is still plenty of time for movement before November 5th. On that note, our presidential forecast currently predicts that Trump has a 58% chance of winning the presidency, meaning that if the 2024 election were held 100 times, Trump would win 58 times and Biden would win 42 times. Now, it's important to note that a chance of winning above 50% does not mean that victory is guaranteed, and nor does it represent the candidate's predicted vote share. Improbable events happen all the time. Before this year's Super Bowl in February, the betting lines gave my San Francisco 49ers a 56.5% chance of winning. Yet the Chiefs, of course, won 25-22, regrettably. Now, America is currently in the midst of an unprecedented competitive electoral era, marked by 9 consecutive presidential elections, from 1988 all the way up to 2020, in which neither the Democratic nor Republican nominee secured a double-digit victory in the popular votes. This is the longest such streak in the history of the current two-party system, and it has had significant implications on the Electoral College. In each of the last 4 elections, 40 of 50 states and the District of Columbia have always voted for either the Democratic or Republican nominee, a level of consistency not seen since the early 20th century. And as a result, our Electoral College forecast shows that Biden and Trump have a better than 80% chance of winning in all but 9 states. The current predictions give Trump an edge in enough states to win 235 electoral votes compared to Biden's 226. So since neither candidate's core coalition puts him above 270 electoral votes, the campaigns are poised to focus intensely on 7 key states for the duration of the election cycle: Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. 5 of those states, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin switched from Trump in 2016 to Biden in 2020 and are currently rated as toss-ups. Nevada is also rated as a toss-up. It voted for Hillary Clinton and Biden by nearly identical 2.4-point margins in the past two elections. North Carolina, meanwhile, having favored Trump by 3 points in 2016 and by 1 point in 2020, is currently rated lean Republican. Now, scrolling down to our mean electoral college projections, these show Trump averaging 282 electoral votes across all of our simulations to Joe Biden's 256. The most likely outcome at this point in the campaign is that Trump wins all 7 key battlegrounds, securing a non-consecutive second term as president, the first since Grover Cleveland in 1892, with a 312 to 226 victory in the Electoral College. This scenario, Trump sweeping all the battlegrounds, occurred in 24% of the 14,605 simulations we ran for our model. Biden's position is especially weak in the Sun Belt, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. He has consistently trailed in the polls by at least 4 points or more in these states, even as he has polled within the margin of error in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin for much of the campaign so far. Back in 2020, strong minority turnouts and elevated support from white, college-educated suburban voters secured Biden narrow victories in Arizona, D plus 0.3, and Georgia, D plus 0.2, marking the first time that a Democrat has won these states since 1996. Now here in 2024, softening support from non-white voters does make Biden's path to holding these two crucial states much more difficult. Historically, Democrats have relied on the 90-30-30 rule in Georgia, win 90% of the black vote and 30% of the white vote in an electorate that is at least 30% black, and you win the states. But early 2024 polls have consistently shown Trump gaining among black and Hispanic voters. And these swings, combined with lower overall turnout relative to 2020, could tip Arizona and Georgia to Trump, given, of course, that the Democratic coalition there relies on strong support and turnout from non-white voters. Likewise, Republican gains among Hispanics have put Trump in a better position to flip Nevada than any Republican presidential candidate since 2004, as Hispanic Latino voters make up almost a third of the electorate in Nevada. In 2022, Republicans notably flipped the governorship in Nevada and managed to secure a majority in the Silver State's U.S. House popular vote for the first time in the 21st century. Now, if Trump's easiest path back to the White House is to flip these 3 Sunbelt states, along with Wisconsin, Biden's best shot at a second term runs primarily through the Rust Belt. Democrats have overperformed electorally in this region since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in the summer of 2022. In the midterms, Democrats swept the competitive gubernatorial races, outperforming 538's final polling averages by 3.4 points in Wisconsin, 5.8 points in Michigan, and 4.1 points in Pennsylvania. Also, Democratic Senate candidates John Fetterman in Pennsylvania and Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin outperformed their final polling averages by 5.3 and 2.6% respectively, though of course Barnes still came up short. Now on that note, Sunbelt states are generally more religious and thus more socially conservative. A Pew Research Center survey found that in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, the core Rust Belt trio, adults favoring the legality of abortion in all or most cases exceed those opposing it by margins of 10, 7, and 8 percentage points, respectively. In contrast, this support is narrower in Arizona and North Carolina at 3 and 4 points, respectively, and it reverses in Georgia, where opponents outnumber supporters by 1 point. And with that in mind, even if Trump does sweep Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, if Biden manages to hold the Rust Belt core trio of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, along with the rest of his less competitive 2020 states, he would reach exactly 270 electoral votes. And in this scenario, the Democrats' extraction of a single electoral vote out of deep red Nebraska's 2nd congressional district could mean the difference between a second Biden term and a constitutional chaos scenario in which the House of Representatives would decide the outcome pursuant to the 12th Amendment. Now, Nebraska, like Maine, allocates 2 electoral votes to the statewide winner and 1 per congressional district. Nebraska 2 is predominantly urban and highly educated, and its current configuration, after redistricting, voted for Biden by 6.3 points in 2020. If Biden manages to hold Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, but falls short in Nebraska's 2nd district, the Electoral College would be tied 269 to 269. Our forecast currently gives this scenario a 0.5% chance of happening. Now let's head to the Senate. Of the 34 seats on the ballot in 2024, 23 are currently represented by Democratic caucus members. Among the 11 presumed battleground states, Democrats are defending seats in 8 of them, including 3 states, Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia, that Trump won in both 2016 and 2020. Now, even if Biden manages to hold the White House, securing Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote in the Senate, Democrats must win 8 of these 11 battleground states, likely all Biden-won states in 2020, plus 2 more to maintain their majority. Now, our top-line Decision Desk HQ Senate forecast for 2024 gives Republicans an 80% chance of flipping control of the upper chamber. The GOP is currently favored to win 51 seats to Democrats' 46, with the contests in Arizona, Michigan, and Ohio rated as toss-ups. Republicans hold an even more commanding lead when looking at just the safe states, with 48 compared to Democrats' 40. This includes a Republican flip in West Virginia, where incumbent Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is retiring, and sitting Republican Governor Jim Justice has secured the Republican nomination, setting up one of the easiest Senate flips in modern electoral history in this Trump plus 39 state, his second strongest in 2020. The single most important factor significantly dampening Democratic hopes of retaining their majority is the decline in split-ticket voting, by which voters choose different candidates from different parties for different offices. Currently, among all U.S. senators, only 3 Democrats represent states that voted for Trump in the 2020 election, while just 2 Republican senators hail from states that voted for Biden. This is a significant change from the 2008 election, after which there were 23 senators representing states won by the opposing party. Now, furthermore, an analysis by Sabato's Crystal Ball reveals that while about 70% of Senate races in 2000 and 2004 had a winning margin that differed from the presidential results by 10 or more percentage points, this figure dropped to about 50% during the Obama era. And in 2020, just 3 of the 33 Senate races, fewer than 10%, had margins within 10 points of their state's presidential outcome. Given these trends, Democrats will have the toughest time holding Ohio and Montana, Trump plus 8 and Trump plus 16 in 2020, respectively, where strong longtime incumbents Sherrod Brown and John Tester will likely need to outperform the top of the ticket by a margin that has become increasingly rare. Assuming Republicans do flip West Virginia, if Democrats lose either Ohio or Montana, they will then need to steal a Republican seat, which at this point is most likely in Texas or Florida, to maintain control of the chamber. Currently, our forecast gives Republican incumbents Ted Cruz in Texas and Rick Scott in Florida 85% chances each. Finally, let's talk about the House. Republicans, under the leadership of Speaker Mike Johnson since October of 2023, following Kevin McCarthy's removal, and Democrats, now led by Hakeem Jeffries instead of Nancy Pelosi for the first time since 2002, are gearing up for a highly competitive race. Although House Republicans fell short of their lofty expectations in 2022, they still managed to flip 9 seats, securing a majority in the Speaker's gavel. They must now defend this narrow majority against the Democrats, who hold 213 seats, just 5 shy of the 218 needed to regain control. Our model currently predicts that Republicans have a 64% chance of holding the House of Representatives this November. The GOP is currently favored in 213 congressional districts to Democrats' 206, with 16 races rated as toss-up. Our mean seat projection, scrolling down here, shows a 223 to 212 Republican advantage, which would leave the House GOP in a situation similar to after the 2022 midterms. Now, a likely Trump victory in 2024 would mean that Republicans have an almost certain chance of flipping control of the Senate, making the House Democrats the best chance at preventing a GOP trifecta. And given the high volume of competitive House races, specific developments in individual races, like retirements, single polls, or fundraising advantages, simply have less impact on the overall balance of power compared to the Senate. So as a result, shifts in generic ballot polling are the single most important factor in determining changes to our forecast for U.S. House control. So that is our forecast. But what exactly is a forecast anyway? Now, forecasting, whether it's a basketball game or an election, is inherently fraught with real-world uncertainties. Just as underdogs win all the time in March Madness, our election forecasting model is not immune to errors. This reality does not mean that our forecast is useless, it just means that we need to understand how to use it. After 2016, many articles came out criticizing election forecasters for, quote, getting it wrong. But those criticisms fundamentally overlook the essence of probabilistic models. For instance, Nate Silver's 538 model in 2016 gave Trump a 28.2% chance of defeating Hillary Clinton. That's better than a 1 in 4 chance. Now, to put that in perspective, consider drawing a card from a standard 52-card deck. The chance of pulling a card from any specific suit, like hearts, is 1 in 4. Trump's odds, according to 538, were actually better than your chance of guessing that suit correctly. Therefore, when evaluating an election forecasting model, it's crucial to remember that unexpected outcomes should still occur with some regularity. If a model says something has an 80% chance of happening, yet it happens every single time, then the model's calibration is probably off, and it's not capturing the inherent uncertainty in the system being modeled. Ultimately, forecasts are not certainties but possibilities. They're just tools designed to help viewers understand the range of potential outcomes. In a presidential election, there are literally millions of combinations of state results that could lead to one candidate achieving the necessary 270 electoral votes over the other. And here at DDHQ, we harness extensive data and run thousands of simulations to demonstrate the most likely paths to victory. We hope you approach our forecast with critical engagement. Again, you can check it out for yourself at elections2024.thehill.com. That's all for this video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you did indeed like it, and subscribe to the channel down below as well if you haven't already. You can check out more content from our channel here, and we'll catch you next time.